Action.
Welcome to the Darkest Timeline podcast with Joe McHale and Ken Jeong.
That's
AKA
right, kids. Step right up with Ken's voice from 1935.
How you doing, man?
What did you have for breakfast this morning?
I had a sugar waffle and a brioche and a little bit of brioche bread with peanut butter on it. Basically leftovers from my kids. So I ate a little bit of that, and 2 cups of coffee, and Coke Zero at the ready. I have 2 cans of Coke Zero at the ready.
Let's be honest. When you wake up for your morning pee, you crack open your first Coke Zero. No.
When I wake up for my morning pee, it's so long. I have to go. Yes.
That's where that went.
You know what?
You had a sugar
Dude,
waffle.
I've only had 2 cups of coffee. I'm barely caffeinated for this guy. All right? I've only had 2 cups of coffee. And by the way, how dare you tell one of my idols, Dr. Josh Schiffer, that I have a Coke Zero problem, and you made me look like an idiot in your otherwise perfect Instagram Live interview the other day, which I thought was amazing.
Darn it.
It was amazing for an hour and 10 minutes right until the very end. And so
you mean when I spoke the truth? When I spoke the truth, Ken? Is that when you had a problem with it?
Yes, I did. I have a problem with the truth. I among many leaders in the U.S. have a problem with people talking about the truth. I don't like it. It makes me look like an idiot. I don't like it. Say it again.
Well, Schiffer really wanted to talk about it, before, because he was like, I'm concerned. And he was like, I love Coke Zero as much as anybody, but Ken has actually hurt the supply chain. And he said he's had so much that I'm worried that he's going to get something, that it's going to
really. I'm a hoarder of Coke Zero that I've depleted the supply.
So for breakfast you had a sugar waffle, brioche, peanut butter, 3 Coke Zeros, and some coffee.
Yeah, but I went running, dude, on a treadmill for like a couple of minutes. So there you go.
How long?
Okay. Oh, actually, you know what? I run longer than I care to admit. I ran about I was watching the news and then getting mad while I'm running, and so I run for about 45 minutes. I know, on a very slow
image of you in full stride screaming at a television.
Dude, it's the worst setup on a treadmill. It's like I have my laptop, the laptop that I'm talking to you right now. I place it on my Life Fitness treadmill, and then I have CNN on one corner of it and MSNBC, and then I watch the news live just on 2 feeds, and then when I get really frustrated, if I want to turn off the news on my phone, I will have ESPN's First Take all queued up and see if they, talking about the Jordan documentary, if I just want to take a break. So I have like 3 channels of news feeds, and it's just
you think that if you
2 of them are news, 2 of them are substantial, and then one of them's about mid-90s NBA basketball.
Do you think if you weren't running at all and you just stood there watching the TV, your heart rate would be about the same from anger? You just be so mad.
During these COVID-19 times, I actually enjoy it. Like, honestly, when I'm finished with my run, I'll just stand there and just watch the news on my laptop.
And your wife will walk in and just quietly turn off lights.
Are you running? She says, no, I'm like standing. It's like one of those ergonomic desks, you just kind of like, I have everything situated, and I'll just watch the news and just like, oh, good point, Chuck Todd, or whatever. Yeah, I'll talk to the TV, and I'm like, oh, I agree, Stephen A. Smith, and then so. And then
daughters think that
Hoffman will call me and go, hey, we're gonna do the podcast right now, and then I'll text him in a minute. I'm extremely busy. Busy.
Do your daughters ever just wander in and see, like, they'll talk to their friends like, what's your dad doing? Is he gonna be on the next Hangover movie? No, he's standing on a treadmill running. Nope. He's just talking to he thinks he can speak to Chuck Todd, but Chuck Todd doesn't answer him back. But we don't want to disturb him. He's like a border collie that way. This is when he's herding. He's herding his thoughts together, and you can't disturb him. I get it.
And even our puppy will run in the room and then look at me and then get disgusted and like, you know what? I'd rather be alone than with a human. You know, if I had a choice to be alone than with Ken, you know, I'll be alone. Like I'd rather just stare at a wall.
That's how
the puppy gets confused. So it's really
your anger is productive, whereas my anger, you saw it right before we started. I can't get the Skype to work on certain computers, and I can feel like the temperature rising and the blind rage building. And you can ask any of my friends that I have this very short temper for inanimate objects.
You are just, I think I'm tough on myself, and I've seen you many times on Community where you have the longest monologue, longer than any of us, and you will be upset with yourself because you couldn't nail it in one take, and it was consistent. It was consistent. I'm like, and everybody would tell you on and off camera, like, I don't know why you've just been given this.
That makes it worse. When
you've just been given this. I know, and it doesn't console you one bit. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like that's amazing how you just soaked that up in one take. No one could do what you did. And I'm not stroking you because
that scene with
because I'm angry at you because you threw me under the bus in front of Dr. Josh. But you will on Community. I will defend your work ethic because. No one worked harder than you on. No. It's very true. No one worked harder than you on monologues, and then because none of us, with the exception of Danny, I think Danny Pudi had a lot of. Like you and Danny had the most lines on the show, and it had to be delivered perfectly, or else.
When I saw Leonardo DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like rip apart his trailer because he couldn't get his lines right, that I was like,
yes,
yeah, that's the light version of me. That's Joel Light sometimes. Yeah, I don't want to
work with somebody, but that's what you want to work with. You want to be on a set who wants to work at the best of his ability. You know, that's like what I'm watching the Bulls documentary. Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman all demanded perfection within of themselves, and that's an easy set to be on because when the participants are being tougher on themselves than the director would, that's that's what you want out of any good show. And I think that's why people respond to this podcast, because they're, you see people who are just thoroughbreds on the show. Like, you saw that tour de force that Allison did. It was incredible, and you see
Allison Janney was great.
Yeah, exactly.
When was
but we're going off the rails again.
Yeah, we're off the rails already. And
I told you exactly what I wanted to talk about right before we went on the air. And of course, we went on a detour, and that's exactly talk on the
fact that you ate a sugar waffle, I won't stop thinking about all day long.
I won't. Yeah, so and that's understandable. And but no, I have to. You talked on your second series of interviews with Dr. Josh Schiffer at Fred Hutch in Seattle. And by the way, go to fredhutch.org/McHale for the interview for information, because it was really informative. Tran and I, we both saw the interview, and it was great because I just like being kept up to date just on all things COVID, which is why we started this podcast. So
that's why I wanted to do it, because when you watch the news, there is a lot of information, but it's so much of it, and it's hard to get through it. That's why I wanted to talk to like a researcher who knows, and just tell me the science and what's happening now, and maybe we can keep it concise. That's what I wanted, because Joshua Schiffer, Dr. Joshua Schiffer, Sir Dr. Joshua Schiffer he's knighted. And I just wanted, as you saw, he's just very good. And you do the same thing, Ken. I'm not going to openly compliment you, but I know but you do the same thing where you know the stuff and you get it out, and then then everything out. Then you can just feel like, okay, that's what this information is today, and it's all going to change next week. But you get the good information.
Oh no, he knows way more than me and Tran combined, and it was just really great just watching I mean, to me, knowledge is power right now in
Yeah.
anything, especially in this pandemic. And watching, there were just some new things that I didn't realize. But I think just starting off with the good news that everybody's talking about in the news is remdesivir. That
Yeah.
medication that was used for Ebola in initial trials years ago, and was
Like
found
20
not
years
to be
ago?
effective.
Like
No,
2001?
I think it was 2014 is when Ebola.
Oh,
Yeah, but it was found not to be effective in clinical trials. And when I saw Dr. Fauci, head of National
Kerr's father,
Institutes,
Dr. Fauci.
say it again.
Steve Kerr's father.
Yeah, yeah, and also Brad Pitt lookalike, Dr. Anthony Fauci, who I think all of us will agree on. He is really. He is really the medical compass right now, this country.
They're going to build statues.
Yeah.
And that's a statue with nachos. Yes, they're going to build statues to him.
Yeah, exactly. And when he said that remdesivir is the gold standard of therapy, I know what he means. He doesn't mean that remdesivir is the end all be all of therapy, but this is the jumping point just biochemically of that drug, because it disrupts this enzyme in the virus that replicates, that multiplies, and is disruptive of this enzyme called RNA polymerase that keeps replicating that virus, and it's found to be effective. And it's found to be effective in people. And it's one thing to do that in the lab, but now you have to test this out on people, and it's found to be effective in reducing stays in hospital, reducing mortality, and that's huge.
For people that are pretty sick.
For people right now, I think that's, well, to your point, that's the challenge right now, and something that hasn't been done, that what we need to do. And of course, Fauci knows this, and the medical community knows this. We need a medication that can be deemed a game changer, in early trials, to like Tamiflu, that you take within 48 to 72 hours of symptoms for the flu, to show that it can stop the flu or at least attenuate the symptoms. We need Tamiflu.
And I don't want to drive you off the point you're about to make, but I want to come back to Tamiflu and ask you if that is effective.
Tamiflu is effective against the flu.
It is. Yes.
Not coronavirus, but Tamiflu is effective.
Oh, yes, of course, but it does not help the coronavirus?
No, it doesn't help the coronavirus at all. Sometimes it's used as, like I've had people who I know who have had COVID-19, and they would be treated on an outpatient basis with a cocktail of azithromycin, Tamiflu, and even hydroxychloroquine. This is all anecdotal evidence, and they're treating. They don't know what it is, and they're treating it all at once. And that's just in case if this is the flu, So they'll put someone.
I have taken Tamiflu, and it did stop. But anyway.
Yeah.
I've
had the flu a couple of years ago, and I took it literally within 2 hours of symptoms. And
is it true that if you take it with 9 sugar waffles and a Coke Zero, that it actually synthesizes into the bloodstream faster?
God, it's so good to have, all those. If you're Ken Jeong, I can't speak for other people, but if you're Ken Jeong, and you're taking
Ken Jeong,
and I'm Ken Jeong, and if you take all those carbs and sugar S products just to get going during the day, and that caffeine, what is unhealthy to other people, to non-Ken Jeongs, is extremely healthy to Ken Jeong. And only as Ken Jeong can I say that the sugar waffle from Trader Joe's plus Tamiflu, yes, Tamiflu, can attenuate those symptoms if you have influenza A within 72 hours.
Is that the Trader Joe's Tamiflu or the Safeway Tamiflu?
No. I'm talking about the waffles from Trader Joe's.
No, I thought you can get
Tamiflu. You have to get through a pharmacy, silly. What am I, an oaf? Come on, guys.
So going back to remdesivir.
Yeah, going back to remdesivir.
It sounds like a British knight, some sort of lord found it.
Well, that's what you said. Yeah, that's what you said to Dr. Josh. He said remdesivir. I'm doing my impression of you. Remdesivir.
It's not what I sound.
The thing is called Lord of the Rings.
That's not what I sound like at all.
That's exactly how I sound on Instagram Live. We all sound different, so don't take it personally. But no, it's very true. Like remdesivir I think it's potentially a game changer, and I'm sure they're doing clinical trials of remdesivir and other
And
drugs
to have someone
with
take
early
it,
treatments, with early treatment.
and from what I understand, to have someone take it there, it reduces the severity, which means they get out of the hospital earlier. And if you have someone staying in a hospital for 14 days and you get them out in 11, that's gigantic because the hospital will have more beds and more people can get in and be treated. From what I understand, or am I saying it wrong?
No, what you have discovered throughout this process is that if you look at New York, if you look at epicenters just around the globe, what happens is when hospitals are overwhelmed, we can't treat everybody. You know, we can't treat everybody effectively. That's just a fact. And so anything to like lessen the burden of medical centers, you know, while anything's going on, is we have to have because there's simply finite resources anywhere. You can have the best medicine around, but if you don't have enough of it, what are you gonna? It's just not gonna help anybody. Right. So it's where hospitals get overwhelmed, and that's why, you know, you would see visible panic, you know, among, you know, public health officials, medical doctors, you know, when, you know, before the peak days of this pandemic was going on, you know, what would stress out me and Tran was just hearing about hospitals overwhelmed and what are the availability of beds, what are the availability of ventilators, what are the availability of treatments, what are the availability of testing. When you don't have you can have the best technology available, but if there's only one of those tests, it doesn't do anybody any good. And so right now, you know, I'm feeling the best I've ever felt, you know, medically. Yeah, I know. And then relatively speaking, I look less terrible today because of remdesivir, because of the fact that honestly, when he said it reminded him of AZT, you know,
which is a drug they use to treat
they used to treat HIV, and
the way that went.
And he said, and it was perfect, and I understood exactly what he was saying. When AZT is, you know, that's no longer the mainstay of HIV treatment, but it led to drugs that were more effective and more efficient, and maybe with less side effects than AZT. It was a jumping point off to which to make other HIV therapies. That's what remdesivir is, and that's what makes me so excited.
Yeah,
I got choked up.
It to me, and you were visibly happy, and it was the first time I'd seen you like that in a long time.
Yeah, I was so happy, and it was like, and it's really, you know, what's amazing out of all this, Joel, is that who knew after being on Community 11 years later, I'll just be texting you. I don't text you anything showbiz related anymore. I only text you like you're my only non-doctor friend that I'll just text you all the medical stuff that I'll text like my physician buddies. And it's pretty amazing to see how far you've come with your knowledge base, because you were able to ask questions you know, to Dr. Schiffer with such a degree of sophistication. Because Tran and I were watching this yesterday, and I was like, oh my God, you know, my boy's all grown up. He's all grown up medically.
It's really good. It's me trying not to look stupid. And secretly, you send me all these medical stuff, and I just reword it and ask him the same thing. But so God bless you for watching, and
God bless you for doing it, and everyone should watch it. Now, it's a really, really good interview. Yeah.
Well, God bless you. It's hard when you say nice things about me, because then I feel bad about making jokes about sugar waffles. So this is hard.
Well, we're both being authentic, you know.
So what about, because we heard so much about it, hydrochloroquine or quine, and that was like, we talked about that last week, and obviously then the Fauci remdesivir revelation happened, and that's why I asked the same thing to Dr. Schiffer. I was like, where's that? It's still going, but I know the trials are still going, but it's not nearly getting the press it did just 6 days ago.
I mean, here's what I honestly feel about hydroxychloroquine. I feel that, and I'm quoting Fauci from 6 weeks ago, but you know, it's still in clinical trials. Like some of the studies that have come back have not been, you know, have been less than conclusive right now. You know, in terms of that, scientifically, I understand potential of hydroxychloroquine. Just because I understand the value scientifically doesn't mean it's effective for humans, if that makes sense. So there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of the science, and that's what distinguishes medical doctors from being biologists. Completely different. So like as a doctor, when I practiced at Kaiser, I wouldn't look at things under a microscope, everything. I would talk to I would talk to the lab techs who would put it under a microscope and say, oh, what is that blood count? How many platelets are in there? So it really, clinical science is kind of the middleman between the patient and the science. So I think that's what I always looked at, what clinicians or what medical professions, we are like the translators. We translate to the patient what the science is. So I think effective doctors are people, who can effectively communicate to patients exactly what's going on. And what I believe with hydroxychloroquine, scientifically, it's what they call, and no one talks about this in the news, whether regardless of whether it's Fox, CNN, or MSNBC. Hydroxychloroquine carries zinc into the bloodstream. It's called a zinc ionophore. Right. And if you're in the hospital or if you're a physician, you're going to prescribe, and if anyone who's prescribed hydroxychloroquine for prophylactic or what they call kind of empiric treatment, that's just kind of maybe presumptive treatment of coronavirus, just in case it worked, especially in March when we didn't have remdesivir being as we talk right now being approved by the FDA.
Right.
Hydroxychloroquine can carry zinc into the blood, whereas zinc itself can disrupt the protein architecture of the virus, and this is me talking to Tran, my wife, who's a medical doctor, There's something in the hydroxychloroquine that also may disrupt the virus as well. So you're getting a two-pronged attack of having the zinc disrupt the virus as well as the hydroxychloroquine. However, with that comes a boatload of side effects. If you're taking medications like antidepressants, like Zoloft, like SSRIs, they can interact with the hydroxychloroquine itself and cause irregularities in your heart. What they call.
I didn't realize that was from antidepressants.
Yeah, and you can get it from other drugs too. It interacts with a lot of medications. So right off the bat, let's say 25% of people, I'm just talking off the top of my head, I don't know the fact, I'm just, haven't done my due diligence, but let's say a significant number of people who take antidepressants automatically, that has to be looked at and has to be considered. And there are other drugs that can interact with hydroxychloroquine. Also, the drug in a certain subset of patients can cause a life-threatening heart arrhythmia called torsade de pointes, which is it's basically a fatal arrhythmia.
What percentage is that happening in?
I would say 1% or so, but even if it's 1%, and don't quote me on that. Even if 1%, that means 1 out of 100 people. And then if you stratify that and say, well, what if you're 90 years old and take that? Then that percentage goes up the older you are. So that's what concerns a lot of doctors, because scientifically, what I described to you sounds great, but the reality in humans, in life, the applicability to that is it is suspect at best, but I do believe in a certain subset of patients there could be promise for that, but as the research evolves, the window is getting more narrow and more narrow, unlike remdesivir, which is shown to be effective. And you're talking to a guy who wished hydroxychloroquine was effective because it's cheap, costs $1 a pill, it's generic, it's already available right now. Millions of pills are available right now, and that's why Trump was so excited when he heard that. And that's actually understandable, because he was like, it's natural to get excited when you hear this, and but he took it too far, saying it's safe, take it, just take it. It sounds like a drug dealer, just take it, all right, just take it.
My drug dealer is way less pushy.
Yeah, he's way less pushy, and exactly. So, but the
how unbelievable of you.
But the excitement is completely understandable. But But as excited as one gets, you realize with the science, it doesn't apply. And then also hydroxychloroquine is used on patients with rheumatoid arthritis, with
Right.
lupus, and you're going to deplete that supply from
Yeah, I have a
people
friend
who are
whose wife has lupus, and
right.
she had about a 6 month supply,
Yeah,
and I thought, how's that gonna go?
exactly. It's gonna go away because everyone,
Now,
doctors are gonna be not, and it's not just patients hoarding it, but it's just like doctors are gonna be prescribing it to see if it works. So you're gonna deplete that supply, and that supply will be challenged of the patients who it's actually indicated for. So
okay, you also sent me a thing about the vaccine, about the Oxford study,
yeah,
about
that's exciting.
possibly. I mean, you got really excited. Do you
I'm
think?
excited.
I mean,
I'm
they said they
excited
would have
about
something
that.
by September, and
Okay,
then
yeah, I mean, and
I mean,
it
not
wasn't.
obviously not the supply of the doses by September, but they would have it by September. Do you think that's reasonable?
I'm very excited by the Oxford study, but because this this vaccine was actually being in development for also COVID-19's relatives, like for
MERS.
MERS, which is also is the Middle Eastern respiratory syndrome, and it's basically a relative of COVID-19, but it's far deadlier. And so they were working on a vaccine for MERS, and they found that there was cross effectiveness with COVID-19. And the beauty of this, it was already in kind of slow development months before the pandemic happened. So it was already going through its
Right.
kind of laborious process of development and being vetted and challenged very specifically for side effects, for phase one, presumably phase one of the vaccine. Phase one of vaccine trials are always, is it safe? Is the vaccine safe? So it was already being vetted, stringently for, in its normal development stages. So they have a leg up on all the vaccine trials that were, started in January or March, after
They've been
the,
going for
yeah.
what? How long
So
have they been going? How long ago was the MERS or the MERS?
MERS has been around for years, so they've been working on this for a while, but it had been months. And from what I've heard from this one, um, uh, you know, from what I've read and saw, it was months in development, before the pandemic. And
Do you have
again,
any idea, like when one of these things happens? Look, we've never experienced this before. It's 100 years since Spanish influenza, and a company like this, the Oxford study, goes, "We're on our way." When all of a sudden it becomes the biggest thing that's happened to human society in years, this group event, then what happens to that company? Does the government go like, here's $1 billion, here's all the money you could ever have, speed it up and forget about the rules, just get it ready? Does that usually what happens?
I mean, I'm talking. Actually, I got this off your conversation with Dr. Schiffer. I mean, according to him, a lot of the companies are working, are being cooperative right now because they know this is unprecedented times, and unprecedented times call for everybody to be as responsible as possible. So I think that, to me, I believe there's going to be global cooperation on whoever discovers it. I do
Yeah.
think that. I do think that companies will want to, maybe tweak it or make the delivery system of the vaccine. They might make it their own because they either truly believe it's a better effective delivery system,
Right.
or they may want to make it their own. But I think right now, what's exciting about the Oxford vaccine to me, and I don't have any data to back that up, but this is just my own intuition, and I'll be the first to admit if I'm wrong, weeks later, if the vaccine doesn't work, because I don't know, who knows how effective it is, showing promise
Right.
in patients in England, and the fact that it's already, I think that the pandemic happened because of bad luck, and this Oxford vaccine is happening because of good luck. So I think there's no rhyme or reason why good or bad things are happening, but it's happening. And so, with this Oxford, with this Oxford vaccine, they were just months ahead in development, and it turns out that it's been found effective, where they were working on this for MERS. If there's no hiccups, it could be ready by the fall. And even Fauci had said yesterday, there's a world without hiccups that vaccine could be ready by January in the States. He said, but he wasn't saying it will be ready. He's saying there's a world where it could, but he wasn't making any promises. So,
and it also eliminates hiccups?
It eliminates hiccups. Incredible. So the guy with the frog mug. Yeah.
Schiffer and I talked a lot about this, but the way that Sweden is going about things, which is just keep everything open and do this herd inoculation, it's called.
Herd immunity.
I mean,
I have strong feelings about it. Again, I have not done my due diligence as much as you have. And I saw you talk with Dr. Schiffer about Sweden. I don't know.
So people who don't know that Sweden is open, but they have changed their behavior significantly. It's not as crowded as you would think, according to Bill Gates.
Well, the thing about Sweden that I give that I didn't know culturally, that Sweden, has like the highest population of singles. So there like more people are single, I believe, in Sweden than in most countries. And so they're able to socially distance. I think its inherent structure culturally of that country is able to really it's able to and so I think that culturally there are differences and just because and to be fair to Sweden, just because they didn't shut down all the places, they're putting social distancing, social isolation in place. So, I'm not trying to.
But no doubt they have, and they apologized, but they screwed up because one of their nursing homes got rocked, and their older population is getting it worse than anybody over there. But there was a couple.
Not only over there, Joel, over here too, and that's where a lot of the morbidity and mortality is coming from nursing homes, even in LA, even in prisons. And that's the thing about Sweden that's alarming me, is because the mortality rate in Sweden, for whatever reason, is in double digits versus like Norway and Denmark or Finland or it's some surrounding neighbors where the mortality rate is in the single digits. So to me, it's really concerning to me that that their approach right now is coming at a cost. And again, I think people who live in Sweden, again, I don't live there, and there are people that will have a more proper context. And look,
we should get a Swedish person on the show.
Yeah, we should.
A Swedish single, like a swinging Swedish single.
Swedish swinging single.
Like somebody, maybe we could get on.
Andrew, is Bjorn Borg available? All right, dude.
Is he single?
I don't know. He won the U.S. Open singles.
So you just named one Swedish person that you knew?
Let me finish.
Wow.
But I do believe that, I think that at the end of the day, what you and I are doing is trying to create dialogue. We're trying to create
revenue. Oh, excuse me. Go ahead.
We're trying to create a constructive dialogue of, and trying to do it in a constructive way. And we can be, and this is an ever evolving conversation. We didn't know before this podcast, that remdesivir is on its way to being FDA approved. So I do believe, as much as doom and gloom is out there, and justifiably so, there's also it can't be disputed that good news is in the works too. And that's all I ever wanted was an effective treatment, an effective vaccine. If we can do that, immunity can be achieved and the economy can be reopened, and then I can go around and spreading my hack form of comedy everywhere.
Okay, let's not.
So to me, it's really
not comedy. It's a hack form. It's not comedy. Okay.
But to me, I feel like this is tremendously good news, and it's something to not be taken for granted. Like if an authority, such as Tony Fauci is saying, this is the standard, that we're going to operate off of remdesivir. Man, I literally, yeah, I got choked up, man, when I heard it, because I had tears well up, because that's what I've been waiting to hear, ever since we've had, stay at home or shelter in place, orders. So there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Right. So here's what we got. We got remdesivir as a therapy. This vaccine looks pretty good for September. This is last week because it was dire.
Okay, and people will respond to you and say it won't be available by September for everybody. So it'll be,
Right.
and I believe
Yep.
in January too. Who knows exactly who this vaccine will be available for? And to me, it should go to the healthcare workers, the people most at risk.
Oh, yeah.
The people who are, and so they're going to prioritize the supply of vaccines. So to me, these will go to the healthcare workers. These will go to the people who are most exposed, essential workers. I think there'll be a tiered prioritization of and I think that will, and then
They need to airdrop them over nursing homes.
And also that to me is the biggest stress right now for me, is because a lot of, like in LA, a lot of new cases that are continuing to come up right now are in nursing home facilities, and they need to, and what they're doing in Maryland right now, they're testing every single person at a nursing home facility, a worker or a patient or a person living there, they're all being tested. And LA, I tell you, LA, God bless, LA, because in California, because LA is the first city to really institute, like, they have enough testing right now for everybody, where they're saying
That's nuts.
Free COVID-19 testing for everybody. Not necessarily, I think there are limits to that. I saw that being disputed in the news today, of like, LA City as opposed to LA County. And so there will be discrepancies. So please check, anyone watching this or hearing this who live in LA, check with your, honestly, check with your, public health websites, and check with your local public health officials if this applies to you. But in LA City, something to be
it's amazing.
Testing for everybody.
And you look at the size of California. I mean, the most populous state in the union, and we have 20,000 cases or something like that.
Well, I think like California, I mean, California, give or take a few thousands, we have, like, let's say we have 50,000 cases in California, and LA County is like half of it. So we're like the epicenter of California. But having said that, the numbers are really good. If there's if there's a few thousand deaths, maybe 2,000 to 3,000 deaths, is about half that in LA County. So, we are, I do consider, medically speaking, we are the epicenter of California, but
right,
statewide we're doing well. We're doing, but statewide we're doing much better than I ever anticipated, and it's I think it's due to
I think it's due
to good luck of geography, and I also think it's also social distancing works. It works, and it's it's being effective, and I do think that we as a country,
48,000 confirmed. 1,900 deaths.
Yeah, and we as a country need to give ourselves credit for for adhering for so long as we did.
Yeah,
it really.
And boy, when it starts opening up, guys, go to every single independently owned business you possibly can.
You've done an amazing job since jump of like promote, really trying to save as many local businesses as possible. And you've done such a good job. And you've actually put yourself out, going out there to the businesses and doing that. I give you a lot of credit, man. That's
it's really selfish, because some of it's my favorite food, so I don't want it to go away. I don't want it to just be chain restaurants. God bless chain restaurants and their success, but I'm trying to think of a restaurant. I don't want to throw a restaurant under the bus. You think about all the people that are unemployed right now, and you think, and like, we wake up and we go, okay, we'll be fine. We had to cancel tour dates and we had to postpone stuff, but but there are people that wake up every single day desperate and going, I don't know what's going to happen, and if unemployment's going to run out, and that is terrifying. And so that's when I start getting. That's when I get the willies, and that's why we need to desperately support them.
That's why I just
the government needs to release more money for
well, and that's why I keep harping on getting treatments and getting vaccines out, because when you achieve immunity, when you can, in this country, immunity will be achieved by a vaccine, or it's one of two ways, on a public health level, it's either infection or vaccine, and you want a vaccine, obviously. So you achieve herd immunity by a vaccine. And so, and a buddy of mine calculated in this country, it was a few weeks ago, so the numbers may change right now, so I might be wrong on the number, but as of 2 weeks ago, the number to achieve herd immunity in the United States as of 2 weeks ago was 70%. So, and we're a long way to go. If they're estimating maybe only 5% of this country is being infected, or positive for coronavirus, that it's so the way to achieve that numerically is through a vaccine. If you get that vaccine out as soon as possible, then we can reopen the economy with confidence, because you can have you can have reopenings, but people are afraid to go out.
Right.
You could open up, you can open up places. People will be afraid to go out. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
turn your video on.
Boy, he's already drinking.
Wow.
Wow.
Hi, Jim. How are you doing?
Hi, Jim.
Hi, Ken. Hi, Joel.
Good to see you. How are your cups and your dishes doing?
Yeah, did you break into a West Elm and decide to podcast from
there? Yeah, it's a great place to quarantine. They have everything you need, smart prices.
It's
and
really good to
do you
see
have
the tile matching?
You have 9 or 10?
Shirt.
How many? Yeah, you matched the wall to your shirt. Which is,
I love that. It's like the most effective gray tile camouflage I've ever seen in my life, with bulging biceps. So don't get mad. I'm complimenting you at the same time.
Right. So Jim, when you wake up, do you have 8 or 10 apples?
What I do is I have to finish a basket by the end of the day. So
you're halfway down.
I'm halfway there, yeah. Full of fiber.
Are those your pandemic games that you play? You eat like 10 apples and then take a Skype, screenshot that, and then just keep filling it up with that.
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Why are we're totally piling on you?
No,
just from
there's nothing better than
like both of us. I thought one of us would be nice, but both of us can't stop piling on.
There's nothing better than seeing people for the first time and starting this way. Just deciding, I haven't missed you.
Yeah. You know what? I feel terrible.
All the people we've had on, like we just both. Usually one of us will be the break, but we just both just couldn't.
Your oven is stupid. You have a stupid oven.
Stupid shirt, stupid tiles, and stupid cups. Hi. Hope you're safe.
Yeah. You know what's great to do is to really berate someone, so that when I end this, I'll be by myself, so that I can continue to process the pain by myself.
Just because you haven't found true love like Ken and I.
Whoa, listen.
What?
Jesus, dude, we're just talking about tiles.
He sees people all the time. He Skypes with his trainer for 6 hours a day. His trainer is constantly there going like, faster.
Yeah.
Drop down.
He said, well, he just wants me to build immunity to moments like this in my life, when I realize everything outside of my bubble does not approve of me.
You're like, doctor, does my vaccine cover insults as well as COVID-19?
Yeah.
And I would like to send our children over to your house for 6 days, if that's okay.
Oh, absolutely. They're going to have the time of their life.
You have so much fun toys there for them to play with.
Oh, yeah.
I've enjoyed your pandemic skits that I've seen online. You did something with Gary Anthony Williams. Yes. And you did something like where you would come to his house like demanding like a cup of sugar. What was it? Was hilarious. It was like, and you guys are obviously not close to each other, but I could not stop laughing. It was really good.
I'm
Gary
sorry, Jim.
What happened?
I didn't see it, Jim. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I think we're gonna watch it here, right? Just hear the sound of it.
Can we do that?
would, but it just came from upstairs. Andrew Hobson, our producer, was like, just due to contractual reasons and due to copyright reasons, we can't
There's
really
a lot
show.
of contracts.
Look, dude, don't shoot the messenger. I was down for it. I'm a fan.
Yeah. No, it's okay.
No, but
no, it is
Jim,
what
did
it
you
is.
exercise this morning already?
No, I have not yet. That is after we finish here. Maybe. Yeah.
You have
You
like
missed a
the
workout
best.
in the COVID?
I've just been prepping for this. What?
I see. Sorry, Ken was about to compliment you.
No, you have the best abs ever. I think Yvette said on Twitter, like, just watching all the old Community episodes was like, man, no one had abs like Jim Rash. What is your workout? What do you do? I don't even know. What do you do?
You might as well speak French to Ken right now because it's
Hey, you know what? We're gonna cut that. It's fine.
just do a whole thing
That's
in
why we do this
French.
podcast
Yeah.
recorded, so we just cut all the zings. We don't need no time for that.
Cut the zings. So there will be zings. So we
He just shut off his camera. He laughed so hard.
I can't wait for all the zings.
Oh,
Did you hear that podcast? Yeah, there were like 27 zings.
it was Zinger Heaven. They changed it to Zinger Heaven. It's not the darkest timeline. It's Zinger
I
Heaven.
think Zinger Heaven is good.
Or zingers, if they've been good zings, they go to heaven.
It just makes you feel better when you get some good zings in your day.
It sounds like a groundling insulting a stand-up's mode of communication. When I go off stage after one of my shows, they're like, man, comics talk to you. Good zings. Yeah, I know. And so that's how we communicate as stand-ups. But groundlings is way more sophisticated. I've been backstage in some of your groundling shows. I never see you or Nat going like, great zings. I know.
No, it's usually, man, that bombed. That bombed bad.
That's how I would see it too.
Oh, I miss you so much, man.
I miss you guys.
Wait, so
what's your
tell us
workout?
No, you did that. I was gonna ask you about something. Oh no, did you see on Instagram that woman that was recreating your entrances with her friend?
Yes, I did.
Trying to find her name.
Her name is, I think, Sid44, SYD.
Sid44, yeah, that's it.
44, beat by beat, recreated the ding-a-ling-a-ling.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Amazing.
And I
mean, it's kind of remarkable how spot on it was.
Yeah, and just Gillian's head turn to Joel. Yeah.
I know.
SYD44. That's the woman who made.
Okay, and for Community fans, you did that, from my memory, you did that like in a couple of hours, right? Like you just did a quick change of all those costumes.
Yeah, I don't remember that. It wasn't that long. I mean, comparatively, because we just stayed in that same shot, and I think Joel and Gillian just hung out and waited while I changed. And then, makeup is so fast. I mean, they were wiping my face off and starting fresh. And it's hard. I don't need much makeup, just in general.
Okay.
Really? Because
the slip in a brag with the information.
No,
we weren't looking for that. We're just looking for information.
No, I thought the
just looking for metrics, really. We just wanted some metric of time.
Okay. No, I thought you had died and your ghost was here talking. That's how.
The gray ghost of Jim Rash, just the head and biceps, at an Elm Cafe or wherever. I don't know. I don't know. I live in Calabasas. We don't have
Elm Cafe.
I don't know. I only live among franchises in Calabasas. We don't have any. We don't have any indie businesses.
You want to head to the Elm Cafe, Jim? Are you up for the Elm Cafe later?
All right. You know what? We're gonna cut this.
I never do my shopping.
No, this is an anti-Zing. No.
Jim, just so you know, if Ken feels threatened at all, he will just say we're cutting this. So
we're just cutting.
You'll know your Zing has worked.
Yeah. This is a Zing antibody, just to give context.
Wow, you really brought it full circle.
What? I'm a doctor. Why can't I establish that? Okay.
We're a doctor 12 years ago.
Right. We stopped living in the past. Sometimes we have to look forward and not behind us. Right.
Michael Jordan doesn't go, I'm an NBA player.
He did a documentary called The Last Dance. That's a 10-episode retrospective. So
it's a retrospective.
Yeah.
But he's looking back a lot.
I don't say I run track in high school. I stopped saying that.
Right.
When
did
you
you stop
stop?
saying that?
When?
Right after high school.
Right. Literally in 1982, he stopped.
Oh, okay.
How
Wow.
dare you?
Man.
How dare
This is like a symphony of zings.
Zingers, right?
Can I say that? I think we'll call this episode Symphony of Zings.
No, let's cut that.
Let's cut the promise of Zings from you.
But that's my career. Don't cut my essence, man. That's my lifeline. I just can't. As Jim swigs a lemonade in his mouth.
You know I love a good lemonade while I do a podcast. It's actually sun tea. I put it out. I put a couple bags in a bucket of water and I just put it out in the sun and let the sun just do its work.
When I do a podcast, I love to have a sun tea lemonade.
Oh,
5 cans.
Podcast lemonade is some of my favorite.
You heard about Arnold Palmer. This is my Sunaid, and it's just 50 sun, 50 lemonade.
It just doesn't sound as the cadence of Sunaid just sounds different from an Arnie Parney. It doesn't even sound like just doesn't sound like the same thing. It doesn't sound like they're in the same genre of
Should we get on the porch and have some Sunaid? Yeah, see, that works.
I guess.
We have to, should we do we all have to do this podcast and
I'm gonna cut this.
Okay.
You
The
can't,
guest is
you
cutting.
can't authorize to cut
That's
this.
smart.
No, we'll cut the Sunaid.
Sunaid. What's an Arnie Parmy? What did you say?
Arnie Parney, Arnold Palmer.
Yeah, but do you call it an Arnie Parmy?
I said Arnie Parney. Is
that another version of it? I'll cut this.
No, it's just it's a syntax error. Jesus, come on, dude, just give me a pass. Hardcore carnivore or whatever your stupid shirt says.
Meat.
Hardcore.
They have a really good.
Hardcore.
I've been eating a lot of beef during the pandemic.
You know that's the name of
seasoning. I gotta promote it, like you.
I didn't know that's. By the way, that's the name of Nickelback's last tour. Zing.
Wait,
Zing.
you get to call your own Zings?
Yeah, I did. That's how you zing.
That's
how you zing in stand up. You actually say zing at the end.
Okay.
That's
I love the new rules. I would love to be able to. It's like laughing at your own joke. I would love to say zing after whatever I say.
You laugh at your own joke. You must laugh after every joke. Otherwise, no one else will. Zing. Oh. That's how I do it. I giggle after every joke.
Yeah.
On my Netflix special.
Jim, when you wrote won your Oscar for Descendants and you put jokes in there, would you write zing in the margin just to let them know?
Yes, I'd say.
Won an Oscar for Zings.
I'd write Clooney. This is a zing because I want to make sure he went up at the end.
And what did Clooney say? Thank you.
Yeah, he goes, thank you.
Which was a zing himself.
That's a zing in itself.
Oh my God, I didn't know Clooney had the capacity for zings. That's insane.
Zing. Clooney's a huge zinger. Totes zinger.
That was going to be the original name of his tequila. Was Tzingla. Zingla. Which was because he wanted to make sure that it was the t and the la was surrounded, or that surrounded the zing, so it wouldn't get cut.
Okay, I want to ask this for community fans. When you won your Oscar out there with Nat.
Wait, is this a written question?
No, it's not a written. This is a Ken Jeong Zingless question. This is a zing-free question. When you won your Oscar, when you're on stage, when you're doing your impression of Angelina Jolie, just how did she react? Was she laughing? Did she get it? Was like, to me, like my jaw dropped. I was happy and emotional that you won, and then B, my jaw dropped that your commitment out of all three of you guys were just like
I think honestly is one, she was behind me, so I don't know what she was doing at that moment.
Right. I'm sorry.
I was mad that you had more definition on your leg than her.
I
was pissed. She was like, I didn't see his quad right through his pants.
I didn't really think of the impact of it in that moment until afterwards when people were saying, have you looked online? So it really didn't register to me that there would be anything of this moment. I do remember that Brad was standing on the edge of the stage when we exited. All he said was, good job, guys. That was it. So I have no idea if secretly they hate me.
Well,
I imagine
think-
Alexander. I like the
think a
look on
number of people's
Alexander Payne's.
secret-
Oh, go
What?
ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, Alexander Payne's face when, as he was trying to give the speech,
Oh,
and
yeah.
behind him,
He was not
like-
happy.
I can't imagine.
And
that.
he had every right not to be happy. I mean, because they give you like instead of a countdown, they just have a diagram of a triangle getting smaller, as if that's less offensive to people.
What?
Like, don't do numbers. That's offensive. It's too rush. We're just going to show a triangle getting smaller. So you're
like
watching.
you're in a trash compactor in Star Wars, so
Yes.
it's just getting small. Oh my gosh.
So the triangle was getting smaller while I was doing that dumb bit. And so this poor guy who was going to have this speech where he was going to, I think, thank his mother, I have eaten that time up. Thankfully, he got everything out. So, or I probably would not be here right now speaking to you.
So the North Star is like literally a sign when they get off. Zinc.
Yeah,
Zing.
literally.
And it ends. Does it say zing when it's like a dot?
Yeah,
Question.
everything comes back to zing. It
What?
literally says, zing, you're done. Take your award and leave. That says that. Zinger.
So the triangle for you gets to nothing, and then zing, you're done.
Yeah, zing, you're done. And then the band plays, as they say.
You should tell us everything about the Oscars because there's never a chance that Ken or I will
That
be.
we'll never. Well, A, we'll never go, and B, like we'll never have anyone else on the podcast who's won an Oscar.
That's right.
No.
It's like,
Well, that's not true.
well,
I
who
know.
else will we have on? Well,
I
besides
don't
you.
know. I don't know. I mean, how long are you guys going to do this for? What, another month? And then
What? No, forever.
this is for just shits and giggles, I guess.
No, this is
Oh,
we're
language.
informing
What?
people.
Wait, freeze. Forever. Oh, Lord.
Listen, we are much like. At no point did you tell your trainer, well, I guess we'll be done by September. This will go on. You're like, you're not. We will continue. Like Ken and I have to find a rhythm at some point.
Yeah.
And our producer keeps telling us that we're gonna finally click in and really connect, and then people
Zing.
start
Right.
tuning
So we
in.
got it. I think we're getting it right now.
No, as soon as
Might
that
be.
angle presents itself, your angle, like what's the angle of this thing? I think it's just gonna take off.
Said the triangle guy who won the Oscar. Okay, everything's an angle to you and not a zing.
That's the sound. That's the sound of my triangle getting smaller.
You gotta do.
There's a sound to it as well.
Yes, that's
Really, they had the sound effect over Alexander Payne's speech.
it's like It's
How does it go again? How does it go again?
Boom.
Oh, you know what it reminded me was when you're doing the sound effects. Remember how you would you would teach us how to sing like in the same key, like you do the scales. A B. Can you just
Go from a middle C to a high
middle
C.
C?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You're like the world's worst like choir glee club music teacher.
No, it's
Yeah.
What I hear. I guess you think it's a bit, but for what I hear is me going from middle C to high C.
Yeah. How do you go?
E D E F G A C D A F E D
E.
C.
Okay, here's a confession.
Here's my complete confession. I cannot do the alphabet backwards.
No, you don't have to confess it, but I tried that after you this is now years ago, but when you did that, I was so astonished that you could move your hand up, say the letters without changing tone, that I would go practice it in my trailer. I'd be I don't think I can do that, because then I would hear my tone go changing. So I'd be like A, B, C, D, E, F,
G. It's
and
about
then
changing.
You would sing and it was in one of the tags when you were putting Troy and Abed to sleep.
One of my
you
favorite
sing
outtakes
from the
ever.
back of your throat.
Yes.
Dude, yeah, when you sing from the back of your throat, my kids are now 12, and even at 5 years of age, they would there's a thing on YouTube like Jim Roush outtakes, and I literally have that memorized. Are you ready to go to dreamland? Said Abed. Troy said yes, but Abba said let's go. And off they go to Panda Parade near the town of Bacon Town.
My Lord. And the pandas were the police. But it was so funny just watching Donald listen to it and then make comments. Oh. It's great.
And they're both going to sleep with cups of hot cocoa or hot milk, warm milk.
I bring them some hot milk, and then their bunk beds were in the study room. Troy and Abed, happy dreamland. I forget what it was.
Was that improvised?
And when did they go? The king will be here.
Part of it was written, and then they let it roll, and then I kept going.
Oh my God, Well, this is
I
what
remember all the outtakes where
you know what?
They couldn't keep a straight face, which
no
time.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm answering one question. We usually answer one question in podcasts. Okay.
At
Love Bar
Parks
asked,
and Rec, so be prepared, Jim.
at Love Bar asked, please talk.
Love Bar is Love Bar part of this?
Yeah, Love Bar is part of this.
Oh.
And please talk at great length about Dean Pelton's rap, please. That payday rap is
What's the next question?
maybe the funniest.
Pass.
It is a game show.
Zing.
I guess when I hear the question of talk at length, I guess I'll tell my 30-minute version. So
that would be. We wouldn't mind at all. That would be amazing.
I woke up that morning and I knew I had to learn the lines quickly.
What did you eat? Did you have?
I had some smart eggs.
What's a dumb egg? What's a dumb egg?
Wrapped in chocolate. I don't. A Cadbury.
Smart to me.
Four Cadburys. No.
Scrambled them.
Scrambled some Cadburys.
So you had some scrambled Cadburys and what else?
Scrambled Cadburys and some Mr. Pibb. And then I got in the car and I go, well, that's my kin breakfast. And then I got into breakfast.
I'm feeling awfully hacky today.
I wanted to channel you. No, I don't. That was a very nerve-wracking day, I think, because it was a mouthful. It wasn't easy to learn. I would say that I probably knew it well enough to get through it, but I know I did it a number of times in my mind, and
you were wearing a heat blanket.
Basically wearing a giant, I was inside an oven doing it. And I remember, I learned it, and then I think Dan smartly was sort of wanted it to not be so at the tip of my tongue. It was just happening, something overtook me. So that also changed it a little bit in a good way, but it just sort of lose control of yourself. So that's all I remember. I remember that in my mind we did that all day. I'm sure we didn't, but it was
it felt like
a lot. And yeah, I don't know if that's
I'm kidding. My recollection of that was that it was very short. I'm not kidding. That it was shorter than Ken. And sorry.
Zing. See, this is our podcast is Zing based.
I'm not trying to go. This is how I remember. But here's the thing. I think we would all agree. Every time, if you think that you were am I gonna get everyone always enjoyed Jim coming into the room so much that it didn't matter. It could have gone on all day. But I remember that rap. I remember the first time you did it, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be the thing of the show. And I think what season was it?
Season 5.
Hickey was in it. Yeah. So 5.
Yeah. So, it was when you said Barack Obama is scared of me.
Yeah.
Just
this is. Yeah. I think that just really. There's a lot of underrated season 5 Dean moments. There was one I was talking to you.
I don't think anyone says that.
No, but you actually hadn't seen it. There was one with Jim Rash and John Oliver that was one of my favorite tags that no one talks about, and and it's really only you and John could pull that off, because it's just, he was like, what's the name of that taco stand? Tico's Taco, on my way. And he goes, no, nah. It was, and Zoe, like my kid, just like
I forgot about that. Not wanting me to go.
Yeah, and it just had an arc of like, and then both of you guys started projecting your own issues. No, I just want to be included. No, I didn't want you to. And then you guys hug, and then there's like, so we're not going to go. And then you go, And there was like all these.
Yes.
I don't even know what two actors
it was
are
remarkable, the turns.
Yeah, with not a non-word.
Yeah.
How long did that take?
I don't think it actually took that long, but I now that I remember that, I think it was a lot of fun to do, but I think it was not a long day, because I felt like the tags just sort of was last thing up.
Right.
It was probably
shot out of order usually, and not like part of the episodes, and maybe a few days before it airs. I have to say on the record, I've never seen.
This is on the record.
On the record.
Everything else has been off the record?
Can't be
everything else is off the record.
I'm a
this
notary.
This is literally the only thing we're going to say in the podcast.
Okay.
I've never seen you do a bad take ever. I've never seen you do a bad take ever. I don't know how people like you just go on your lives with just full of good takes. So
thank you, but I don't know.
You know what? We'll cut this. It doesn't feel right.
Well, yeah, just felt like I didn't believe 1 minute of what you were saying, which is why my thank you was
it's just like, not a zing. It doesn't feel like a zing.
No.
So we should cut it.
All I remember is one of my favorites is we had just been there until the wee hours of the morning screaming during conspiracy theories and shooting guns with Joel and Allison. And the next day we started a new episode where you're singing to Shirley's baby at her baby shower, and I just come in and go, ni hao. Right? But I had to. My voice was so spent. It was ni hao.
That's kind of, you were like a salty sea captain who happened to speak Chinese.
I just ravaged, like someone had just kicked me in the throat, and
Alec Baldwin voice.
Yeah. Eventually, Neo. And I remember that was the day that you could not get it together.
Yeah, that was the ha 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 ha. I still can't do it. and I won't repeat it over and over again. But
I'm gonna repeat it
to excuse everybody. But
what was the song you were?
No, there was a take that Jim came in off camera where you actually said he now.
That's right. Yes. And then you lost it.
And I lost it again, and I double lost it. And Joel had talked about this last week. In general, when you lose it, it's not fun. It's panic-inducing. You feel like you have you know what you're doing. You know you're pissing off everybody. It's just kind of like, because
I was enjoying every moment.
I was not, because there was true panic. Even though I was giggling a lot, but I do have I was having a panic attack at the same time, knowing that.
What were you trying to sing to the baby? It was at the Four Seasons.
Some Baroque music.
It was like Vivaldi or something.
Vivaldi, ha 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 ha, something like that.
Oh wow!
Oh, I just did it.
But
11 years of charm.
Okay, wow, your video has gone nuts, or all of our video has gone nuts.
Is it
mine?
Mine? Well, I tried to tell.
No, now, and Ken, you're gonna want to cut this, but Zing and Notary, but so this is a thing that Ken did as he was trying to sing to a baby in Shirley's stomach. He would go like ha 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 ha, and then his voice would get very high because he would go into a laugh. But the way that Ken was trying to stop laughing would be under his breath, just going, dead babies, dead babies, dead babies.
That's right.
So,
my God.
And I
would say dark
thoughts, dead babies. And I just thought, oh my gosh. And it happened over and over again. So there's this hysterical man singing to a
baby.
A pregnant stomach, a fake pregnant stomach, can't get through without laughing, and then going, ha ha, dark thoughts, dead babies.
And Malcolm Jamal Warner was just a guest star that episode. And he was looking at us going, what kind of show is this? And what kind of actor am I working with? This was
or he was saying, what an amazing technique this Ken has. Just levels and levels of Meisner technique in deciding that if I tell my brain to think about horrible things, I will nail this scene.
Zing.
Zing.
That's what this is all about, guys.
But Ken, now to your great credit, Ken, you got it. And it was a great, and when you watched it back, it's super funny.
The thing is, dude, they never used it in the final take. I never had a good take. So it never made the final cut. It's only lives in the blooper.
You never sang in the final cut?
It never made in the final take. Swear to God. From what I remember, it never, because I never got one take right. And so
we've all just watched the bloopers so many times we think it's in the episode.
I think that's like urban legend now. Or the urban myth is that, that's a great scene in that episode. No, I didn't.
That's the urban myth. That's one of those famous urban myths. So it's like the level of the Boogeyman and then Ken laughing and singing at a baby. Those are the two biggest urban myths that we all
remember. When my friend woke up in a bathtub after a party full of ice, and then it said, there was a note that said, your liver has been removed. Call a doctor right now. Oh, and Ken Jeong, that his scene where he was saying dead babies was actually was cut. That's a thing that happened to me.
Yeah. Two urban legends right there, man.
Two urban myths conjoined in one moment.
Yeah, two urban myths.
Was it in the second urban legend movie?
Equals
yes,
legend.
It was.
Yeah, it was.
It was an urban legend 2. We're out of ideas.
Zing.
We're out of
it
urban
does work
legends.
All the time.
It does work. Zing.
Don't deny the zing. Don't deny my zing philosophy.
No, I plan to go out on my walk today and just say zing to people.
Man, that is through a mask, so it'll be like
zing. Yeah. Oh my God. My mask for a while, I couldn't find, I made a terrible mask at first, which was to take a thin ski cap, cut the top of the ski cap so I could pull it over my head like a giant turtleneck and walk around. And then the next stage was I ordered one, but was really for runners, the ones with the little big filters
for
people
trying to restrict their breath for mountain climbing. And
you look like Bane Jr.
Thank you. So I would be this bald-headed Bane, which Bane probably was bald-headed. It just was too intense. I finally got one that's a little. It's bedazzled.
No, it's not. Is it?
No. It's it's unfortunate that we're in a world where I have a normal one.
Yeah. Wait, what did you do with the runner's one, the mask?
I still have it. I have both. I have it.
Did you just take the little restrictor filters out of it so you could not be short of breath while wearing it?
A smart man, Joel, would, but I didn't realize they were restricting it. Every time I wore it, I was like, why am I so struggling for breath?
I definitely have the virus.
I have the virus. I'm so short of breath.
Yeah. So a lot is making sense right now for me internally.
Do you wear gloves as well?
I have worn gloves at the supermarket, but I don't know if that was helpful or not, but I had them.
Okay. I want to keep going. I want to do 2 questions right now. We're on a roll. So
you on my feed. Oh, we lost Jim. On my feed.
You lost me.
Am I here?
We lost Jim.
Oh,
I don't see Jim.
Wait.
I see Jim here. So
you do?
Oh wait. Am I back?
Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, Jim.
I
see Jim here.
I see Jim here. Fine.
Yeah.
It's his crappy house.
The Darkest Timeline. Remix. Hi, you're watching the Darkest Timeline podcast with Ken Jeong.
And Jim Rash. Hi.
Oh my God.
God, it's so great to be here because I've listened to the first 6 of these and I was like, there's something that's not working. And I knew it was Joel. It's like when you buy a car and you realize what's not working, everything about this car.
What does the car sound like?
No, it's just like I remember when I listened to episode 1 of your thing, and I went on a long walk, and my walk got shorter just because I was like, I cannot listen to this. I think it'd be great for listeners to realize right now that it's just you and me, and we can say anything we want, and Joel will be surprised by what is
Exactly.
in the podcast. So here, really quickly, if you don't mind, I just like to launch into some really truth serum about what it felt like to work with him.
Okay.
And to anyone who's listening, I'd love to say that we're all friends, but at the end of the day, Joel had 5 rules. No eye contact, be shorter than me at all times, which was easy. Oh, he's back.
Oh, hi. Oh my
Hi.
God. Hi.
What were you got? I
You're
heard
just-
something about no eye contact.
No.
I was giving the 5 rules that you had on the set of Community just to let people know what it was really like to work with you. And I said it was no eye contact, be shorter than me at all times, which was an easy one to follow. Call me
people
Lord.
weren't making eye contact with me because people like you were so short. So it wasn't. There was just you were always looking up into the lights.
Right. So those 2 were probably easy to do, but number 3 was call me Lord Joel. Number 4 was bring me a special gift every day, and 5 was give me 5 compliments a day.
Dude,
So 5.
that's like
number
that's
5
like,
was give
that's
me
like
some.
9 things.
So
That's
it
like
was-
9 things, really. That's not
why
fair.
I always got mad that the 5th one was like asking for 5 more wishes, and I said you can't
Right.
wish for another wish. And so he said no. The
No,
5th
and I was
rule,
like, can you
give me
please not ask me
5
that question while looking into my eyes? Can
Yeah.
you turn away and ask that question?
What was your go-to gift for Joel on set?
oh, it was bread.
But he doesn't eat
That was
carbs.
insulting.
Exactly.
That was insulting.
And then and the 5 compliments were, you're a decent actor. I sometimes believe you.
Mhm.
Great shirt.
I like that one.
You're, okay, I bet you run interestingly.
Thank you. I remember that one.
And your feet, and my last one, my favorite one was your feet work.
Whoa,
That's
that's a heavy.
that a
Compliment.
compliment?
Jim, you've never told another actor your feet work.
Yeah, because
Never-
I've met so many actors, I'm like, I don't know what's happening with your feet.
I don't. Yeah, I don't
You
trust your
told
feet at
Clooney
all.
that? You told Clooney that.
Yeah.
Yeah, what did
he's a-
Clooney? Yeah.
Clooney is a clomper, and I told him that. I said, clomp. I go, you're just walking, and he goes, what are you talking about? I go, I don't know. I was like, why is this horse following me?
Jeez. I mean, one of the biggest stars on the planet. You're just
But he
calling him a
trusted
horse.
you with that note, right? And then I think the scene.
He loved the note, and then the next day was weird because I had a ticket home.
Oh,
He said, I love that note, and the next day there was a box that said, here's your ticket home, use it. So whatever.
they put the ticket in a box?
Yeah, they put that, which I thought was offensive because it's like, oh, I got a gift. Oh, it's a ticket home.
And that's why you called him George Clompy.
Yeah.
Like, wasn't that his nickname on
Zing.
the set?
Yeah,
Zing. That's a
huge
zing.
They
Wow.
didn't hear the zing because I was on the plane by then, but I yelled it to the plane,
Right.
and most people were like worried.
Yeah. And that line
Yeah.
came from me. It was not at all fed by Andrew, our producer. The line came exactly from me.
Yeah.
I
Andrew
came up
was
with that.
pressuring me to think of my 5 compliments, and I was like, I don't have any compliments for Joel. That's the joke.
Right. There's
I
too
got-
many. There was
Well,
just a
that's
glut
opposite of what I
in
just
your
said.
mouth. Just like it couldn't come out.
No, it couldn't.
I
My
get it.
mouth is like, I hate everything you're doing.
I know every community fan is going to every community
what?
fan is going to want this. I had like 6 questions on Twitter. So everyone, what is the favorite Dean costume? What's your
Who
favorite
asked
costume?
that one?
It was at Neat's Beat.
Oh, Neat Beat.
Oh, neat
Yeah.
beat.
Neat's Beat.
Neat Beat is actually one of the leading researchers for the COVID-19. Just so you know that. So Dr. Neat Beat.
Oh, is that right?
So for Dr. Neat Beat to take a time, he lives in Germany. To take a moment and ask that question is cool.
That's great. Well, Dr. Neat Beat, I would say my brain always went to Lady Gaga, but I truthfully enjoyed the half and half me. I enjoyed the half
Wow.
Dean, half.
Look at this. Someone said at Neat's Beat said mine is dualidine of man.
There you go.
So-
then we agree, Neat Beat.
And then Dr. Neatbeat, do you think he was disappointed? Because in season 5, there was
season
one
5,
outfit?
none.
No,
Until
season
the-
6.
No, season 6. Season 6.
Wait, when did you do the rap? When did you do the Obama rap?
That was probably season 5 because Hickey was in there. Season 6.
Keep bringing up Hickey as if he went up to the network and said, as if he said, I don't want Jim to do that rap.
Yeah,
I don't want Jim.
No, but his son was my keyboardist. That's why I keep thinking.
That's right.
But I.
He's not gonna rap, is he?
He's not gonna rap, is he?
I think
Jonathan Banks, great actor, and he sounds like you when you were saying "ni hao."
Yeah.
I'm Jonathan Banks. Ni hao.
Banks, ni hao.
All right. So sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I was saying you're right. It was season 6 because I had gotten through all season 6, I think, without a costume, and I came in wearing a pile of costumes right at the end during the top of the last episode.
That was so heavy. That looked.
I toppled over.
It was like looked like 30 pounds of wardrobe on you.
It was probably
right?
60 pounds.
Yes, it was some big suit, and they just layered on costumes and.
But you actually had to move. You actually had to walk. You couldn't. It wasn't just you standing there. It wasn't a simple setup.
I walked in, and then we stood there, and then eventually I toppled over.
Jim, would you say that was one of the hardest things you've ever done?
That's probably.
I mean, how do you do it, man?
I look back at that, and I remember that day fondly because I woke up and I had my Cadbury scrambled eggs and my Mr. Pibb. And then I got to set, and I remember sitting in front of my mirror and looking at me and say, Jim, this is it. This is the test that everyone has to face in their lives. Yeah. So you get that costume on, you go in and you nail it. You do not have a choice here. You need to bring it. And I kept saying that to myself, bring it.
And I remember.
Really? 2 syllables? Okay.
Yeah, I remember reading it, and then I remember seeing the costume before you put it on. And I'm, as you know, very sarcastic. I'm always making jokes. What? I know, but I remember putting my hand on your shoulder, and I was like, Jim, you gotta bring it.
That's right.
And I remember there was tears in my eyes, tears in your eyes.
Yeah.
And I remember Bob Rowe from Dirty Jobs.
Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs directed that episode. Oh my God.
The
cleanest episode we've ever done.
Our amazing second AD. I remember him being in a full-blown panic, going like, I don't know if Jim can walk in with a heavy costume on.
Yeah, that's right. Like, this is the
I don't know if he can bring it, Joel. And what did Joel
I don't know
say?
if he can
he'll bring it.
I don't know if he can bring it. And
I think he can, but I don't know.
It got
He's already. Yeah, that was and so that was the only one costume for season 6.
Yes,
I remember the paintball where I remember you made a request to Dan. I'm right. Tell me if I'm right. Were you just like, can I have a gun in this one? Because you had never shot a paintball.
Oh, you did the Captain America, the Winter Soldier elevator scene.
Yes,
that's one of my favorite ones.
That was one of my favorite.
And you did all this, and you did all the stunts, right? You did all your stuff, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's like this guy's like basically holding you, and you're running. You know, it was.
But you ran up and did a flip.
Well, not a flip, but I ran around the edges, so it makes it look like I'm running around the edge of the thing. Oh, it's so much fun. That was a joyous.
Jim, how heavy was your costume in that scene?
That was God. It was a suit. You know suits. You wear them.
Yeah, I know.
What was that note that you gave Jim?
I'll tell you what weighs the weight of paper is any other Dean outfit I wore, because it would just go with a match would take that thing down. Those pants. I had 2 pairs of pants, I think, for the Dean, maybe 3, and I had 1 pair of shoes. 1 pair of shoes for that character for 6 seasons.
That's me in real life. That's
like, well, I know. They said
one North Face jacket. He's not wearing it.
Yeah, I was
same shirt, same pants.
Yeah, same pants.
Oh, and I remember, Jim, I had racks and racks of sweaters and coats and beautiful clothing.
Yeah, you had.
Because my character, of course, was a clothes horse. And then you'd see Jim's rack, and it would just say, it'd say like Dean, and there was like 3 hangers.
Short sleeve, button-down shirt,
tie. Like, the Hagar slacks are back from the cleaners.
God,
right. Which one are these the clean ones, or are these the clean ones?
Should we do brown or off brown? Oh, let's do brown. Okay. Because off brown seems too fun and festive. Yeah, it's a brown day.
Yeah, it's a bottle episode.
And are you sure you want to put the colored deep mustard on his skin? Absolutely. Sometimes I look at episodes and I'm like, my God, I don't look well.
You're like, why does my shirt match my skin tone?
Hey, it's just.
How many? This is something no one's asked before. How many episodes did you direct on Community? You and Nat.
It's two. We did
two.
You
did the Jesus Wept one, right? Was that?
We did Jesus Wept, and then we did the Karate Kid.
The Karate Kid. That's like one of my favorite.
Yeah, that's good.
That was a really good one. That was you helped me out so much because I really wanted to cry in that scene, and you. Oh yeah, we shot that when everyone had left, and so when Miyagi's crying, that was a wonderful moment, and you helped me, and I asked you because it's like I'm so insecure about me being emotional, so you let me do the close up first so we could get the tears, and then you could do the wide later, because usually you start with the wide and do the close up, but I don't think I could have done that scene the way it was meant to be without just because you're really, man, you're great to work with as a director, but why isn't
thank you.
Zing it? But as
I know.
Zing me.
I know.
As a director, you never zing me.
Well, I tried to zing you because I leaned in your ear before the take and said dark thoughts.
Babies.
Babies.
You did say that right before the take. Yeah.
Yeah. I kept trying to throw you off by going like, cheery, happy babies.
My only complaint about you as a director, you're like, because I went to Duke, you went to UNC, and then so it's like me at the free throw line. You're like behind, you're Ken. It's too much. You just kept doing that behind the camera. It did throw me off a little bit. I had to get used to your style.
Yeah. No.
Too much. Stop.
Yeah. Well, that's my voice too. Too much. Stop.
That's his directing voice. That's your director voice when you're giving directions out?
Yeah, I like it to make it sound like I'm yelling, but I'm not yelling. Like it's in the back of my throat, like my singing.
Please do that again.
Too much stuff.
Let's roll the cameras.
Let's roll the camera, guys.
We got that one.
We got that one. That's one take. Good work, kid. Moving on.
Jim, why are you yelling? We can't really hear your weird not yell. I don't know what you just said.
Man,
I'm doing a set at the Laugh Factory tonight. I don't want to blow my voice.
Ni hao.
Ni hao, motherfuckers.
Whoa, don't steal my... Whoa, are you stealing my...
But that was you were very good in that episode. That was a fun one to shoot too, because I just actually ran into Jason Mantzoukas of all.
Wow! How is he doing? What mask was he wearing?
He wasn't. I was walking down the street, and I did not know we'd live in the same neighborhood, and he was out on his little stoop, and we had a little talk from a safe distance.
3 inches.
3 inches. Oh no! Yeah, we were. Pretty much making out that close.
Yeah, but you were wearing that restrictive air mask, so you were breathing very heavily at that point.
Yeah.
Wear your Bane.
Why is this mask making me lightheaded?
Why
if I only knew
stars.
Why do I keep passing out?
That guy definitely is sick. He's this guy lying on the sidewalk with his mask on.
We should just do a podcast just where he's just, I'm talking like this.
Oh my God. Boy.
we just carry on as if that's just like your baseline.
No, it's the next Joe Rogan. You won't believe it. It can go on. It's amazing. He can do 3 hours of fake yelling.
What? Anyone from Ohio in the house? Can
I'm gonna answer some questions
can you hear me?
Instagram.
I gotta ask you.
Seriously, Adnan is a murderer, no?
Yeah. I've been in quarantine with myself. Guess what? I'm an asshole.
You know what? I know you're mocking, but those are actually good jokes. Those are really good jokes. I know you're saying it ironically, but actually that's
no. I'm
Is it okay? May I use that for the next?
Yeah, no. I'm doing a Zoom set later tonight, so.
Where are you doing the Zoom set?
Where?
Hey, like the Ohio Chuckle Laugh?
Yeah, Ohio. I'm gonna patch into the Ohio Chuckle Festival. There's a whole festival. Yeah.
Is it a character, or is it just you doing Zings, or is it a character, or do you do that voice?
It's that great storytelling style where I don't know where I'm going, but I do want to it's Okay, here's something. I mean, I get my vegetables delivered. Anybody here get their vegetables delivered?
I
Guess
do.
Guess what I don't need? Gala apples. They're the shittiest apples out there. If you like Gala, you're not a friend of mine. Hey, guess what? Guess what Gala is? Mush. I'm here all week. Like that.
Yes.
That's my ender. Guess what Gala is like? Mush. That's the ending.
That's the closer.
Yeah.
That's the.
I do.
You've killed Ken.
I do.
This is the biggest workout Ken's gotten in a while.
Yeah, this is like more than sit-ups. This is so good.
I do have an issue with Gala apples. That's real.
What kind of apples do you have? What kind of apples are in the bag?
Right. Well,
Yeah.
those are Honey Crisp. What? That's an actual thing. Honey
Oh, I'm
Crisp.
sorry.
Yeah, I don't know
I
why
just
he
didn't know.
found that funny. I think
I don't
that's-
know. I just don't eat apples. I guess it's calling something from a non-apple eater.
You don't eat apples?
I don't eat. Whoa.
You don't. Whoa.
Really? Now we're gonna end on a weird note like this.
Who said
Okay.
we were ending? Now that we have this vein of
Whoa.
Of
It's like you
fascination,
guys,
it's
this is
going to
3D.
do.
You guys are
I can tell you right now that half of your listeners just perked up when we said, "Why don't you eat apples?" They were like, "Now we're getting in somewhere with this. Now we're getting into it."
7
because-
episodes deep. You found the
7
treats.
episodes. Wait, 7? It took 7 to get me on here.
Well, we you didn't
was
become a series regular until later.
Oh my god, the bandwidth is so spotty. How do you delete Andrew?
That is a little known thing that Jim, even though he was all over every single episode, was a guest star.
Yeah.
And for a long time, you did not actually want to be a series regular, I believe. Is that
What?
true? Oh, I thought you didn't.
Because
I
you're
thought you
working
were
on
like,
you're
hey,
working
I'm
on
keeping
the
things open.
working on
No, no, I didn't become a series regular. I became a series regular in the 3rd season. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't think I fought it. Not from my recollection.
I thought you were like just keeping because you had a lot of things going.
Yeah.
But most of those things happened after that. Like, as far as the way back and shooting, that was over our hiatus.
Which, if you want to see a great movie, go watch The Way Back. Which
Love the way.
is-
Oh, by the way, I
Jim wrote and directed.
Tran and I saw Downhill. That was so good, dude. It was
Thank
so good. Man, you felt the pain, and it was just. Where did you guys film that again?
We were. This is interesting, actually. We shot in Austria, but the interesting thing was we shot at 2 different ski resorts. One was this place called Fis, and another one was called Ischgl. And Ischgl has been in the news because it was a huge, place of outbreak. Because of Ischgl is like a very popular spot. So during the winter months. But anyway, we shot in Austria.
And what were the lunches like? I remember you were telling me like
That's
the
a weird
food
question.
Oh my God!
that
Well,
they
Oh,
would
the Austrian
serve you every
catering.
day.
Okay, Austrian
to
catering.
their credit, I being celiac, Austria is not the easiest since they love schnitzel and desserts for someone who can't eat gluten. But they were.
So
quite
what would
good.
they put in front of you? What would they put in like you would be
No,
like?
they would make gluten-free. At least they say were gluten-free things, which were mostly like rice and chicken and stuff like that. But the meals. Like I said, it's mostly breaded meat.
Breaded meat.
Yeah, they love schnitzel and they love.
And yet,
And the fish is usually freshwater fish, so it'll be a lot of trout.
breaded.
Breaded.
Aren't you glad that you were talking about your movie and then I immediately switched
I know
to-
you're asking about the food. You're
Yeah.
asking about the food. The
I just remember I would be like, how was? And you'd be like, ugh, schnitzel again.
Yeah. That was my stand-up there. Oh, schnitzel, huh? What's up with schnitzel? Seriously. Hey. Oh, here's. Do you want me to bread it? Do I have a choice? I'll be here all week.
Whoa. You're ending a lot of jokes with I'll be here all week.
It's just
Well-
you're the director of that movie. Is that how you would direct Will and Julia? Would you just
Yeah.
talk in that voice?
I would
Zach
just
Wilson?
talk in that voice.
Yeah.
Just say, that's a cut on Will. That's
We
a
got
rap on Will. Great job.
But
Julia,
it's only day one. Jim.
Julia, Oh man, I had to really teach them how to act. Could you imagine?
You're throwing it down
like
now.
micromanaging.
There was
notes.
absolutely, there was nothing
Yeah.
like, I mean, you watch Julia Louis-Dreyfus and you're like, well, yep, you got it.
Just imagine
she's perfect.
your marriage is in trouble, and then like, you just kind of give like these notes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a single guy going like, that thing that happens, when your wife is like, bah, and you're like, bah, that, do that. That kind of classic husband-wife or married, stuff,
Oh man.
I want you to bah, bah, and you're like, beep, beep, you, and then you're like, wah, wah, and you're like, wow, and I'm like, not on my watch, and you're like, who? And then she's like, please, and you're like, growl, and you're like, pow, pow, and then she's like, meow, and you're like, cow, tow, brown cow. One of those classic arguments. Do that.
And then she goes, zing. See what I did there?
Classic.
Gotta be patient with the callback.
Married couple
The
argument.
classic. I mean, that's like, yeah.
Well, it's great to be inside the
Why-
director's
I mean,
studio.
Excuse me, Jim. Your house is a mess, and
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
you seem like you'd have time to straighten up.
Yeah.
Do you actually use any of that behind you?
God, no. No, they're all empty. They're all like made out of cardboard. They're just like
Oh.
presentation.
You're constantly showing your house to sell it.
Yeah, I can't wait to find out what this cooking machine is. This will be fun to figure out.
Just imagine it's just a set, and you like live at Sunset Gower.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
It's like-
The bathrooms, it's bad. It's bad.
What time's your training session, Jim?
Oh yeah. All right.
It's at 2:00.
Okay. All right.
We got
Wow.
plenty of time.
Okay, let's keep going for another hour. How does that sound, Jim?
Yeah.
Ken?
So I could
How
talk
long
to
have
you,
we been going, Andrew?
I could talk to you forever. This is so good.
It feels
We're
like you're
going.
done.
Did we break a record?
Not
No,
yet.
it's only
We're
1:37.
getting
Dude, it's good. But this
Yeah,
is
we're
all
good.
jam packed. This is good.
That's
It's
good
good.
stuff.
It's all good stuff, man.
it's going great.
It's going great. Oh, that was almost like stage
It's
left even. Oh, stage left even. Oh, yeah, I love Snagglepuss. Exit, stage left even. Like, why did he have to go exit, stage left even? Like, that's more remarkable an exit? Like, I'm not just leaving, it's stage left even.
I don't even know what this is.
Dude, do you remember Snagglepuss, Hanna-Barbera?
Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
Remember
I
that?
didn't get into
You-
it. It was
you-
all
you-
Super Friends.
Oh, you're like a Super Friends guy. Okay.
Ooh, it's all Super Friends. Gross. That you made it sound like only bros watch Super Friends.
What do you call me, a bro? dude?
Well, they do. You call me bro, dude?
No, I don't know why I didn't get into Snagglepuss. I was like a Jabberjaw man.
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo, of course.
Yeah.
And then,
Well, Snagglepuss was technically before, so that was more Discovery on Boomerang later for me. But I'm saying, but Jabberjaw,
Wait,
Scooby-Doo.
you discovered it later, like Boomerang, like 4 years ago on that
you
app?
discovered Snagglepuss later?
Like 4 years
No,
ago?
like on when Cartoon Network had Boomerang, where they showed only old Hanna-Barbera stuff.
Oh,
Not
really?
Not Boomerang as in the fun
You just-
video
you
where
just
you look
thumb
like
through
you're
the-
doing the thing over and over again.
You just thumb through the maps, and you're like, oh my god, this is amazing.
This is amazing.
World opened.
World open. Wow.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, Snagglepuss. No, I was totally. I watched cartoons from like 6 a.m. to noon. That was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Me too. How about you, Joel? Were you a cartoon boy?
My parents would not really let us watch that many cartoons, so I had to go over. I'd sleep over at someone's house, and then I'd be like, look at this world they live in. You get up at 6, and it's just a whole world of wonderful hours of television. My parents always would get us out immediately, to which when I hosted The Soup, I was like, you were hurting my career, Mom and Dad, because I could have used that as ammunition somehow when I was making fun of television.
And that's why you didn't host the Laugh Olympics on the Hanna-Barbera reboot. I don't know. No one.
Wait,
someone will
They
figure.
didn't reboot Hanna-Barbera.
I know. I just did it for
You
the
know what
bit.
they
I just.
do?
Whoa.
Let's
Okay.
Reboot a
Okay.
whole company.
Well, okay. You don't have to deconstruct
Okay.
me.
That was my
Yeah,
favorite
it's-
moment of the whole thing.
it's
We're just
official.
staring at Ken. We're staring at Ken like he's in a hospital bed. Just let him talk. It's just great that he's talking.
I'm going to reboot Apple. I'm going to reboot Coca-Cola. I'm going to reboot.
Grape Ape reboot.
Oh my God, Grape Ape reboot. I'm all for it.
Grape Ape was amazing.
Ken's back.
I think
Ken's
all this
back.
is so usable. It's so good.
Oh my God.
This is
What's so great is to see the through line for your podcast.
What do you mean? The descriptions of it, or
The intricately woven, point of it.
Yeah, it's like cereal,
Dude,
right?
I'm
It's
talking
cereal,
like
where
such a
we know
moron.
exactly where
what
we're
the
going.
fuck's a through line, Jim? What the fuck? You're confusing me.
Yeah. My God, a through line.
Through line? What the fuck?
I will say this, not taking back Community, but I did just rewatch season 6, and I marvel how, even though we've had a long, unfortunate time that we have not been shooting that show together, how emotional that last one is, and how well done it was. And I think I started to appreciate, and this is going to sound completely as dickish as it should, I started to notice other people's performance. But it's true. You miss moments sometimes. Because I would say you watch yourself first because you're like, oh, I'm awful. Or, oh, And then the next time you really start to watch the episode. But by this time, I go.
It was amazing. I started to notice other people's performance.
And I go, huh. Joel did some good work. No, it really was. That ending was quite lovely.
Ooh,
just the concept of preparing for a season 7 and just how riddled with fear Jeff Winger was really emotional, I thought.
I thought Joel pulled it off too, because that's a lot of, you're really seeing it through Dan's eyes of, where this is going, I think through Jeff and Abed. And it was that, do you remember, and I was telling this to Gillian last week, was when she gave that, when Danny was given that monologue about how TV is just TV and it all ends, and how Gillian was crying, and Gillian made us cry off camera, and then because you and me were crying, Paget Brewster would look at us crying, and then she started crying. It was I've never experienced that on a set before nor since. It was pretty special. Yeah,
it was quite lovely. And I remember
thinking,
what?
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
No, I just kept thinking, man, I hope this episode brings down an entire search engine.
Did it work? Did it work?
It did.
We did. We put Yahoo out of business.
Mission accomplished.
God, I remember.
This is so emotional. People on Yahoo will be like, I can't. And
every time like an episode would end for the commercial when you're watching online, when you came back to the show, it would show you the end of the thing you just saw. And then it was like the weirdest, at least you did.
It was always like a Honda. Wasn't it always like, I just remember seeing a lot of Acura, a Honda or Honda Accord ads.
We did a Honda episode, yes.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
With Subway guy came back, and now he was a Honda guy.
Oh, how about that Subway guy? That guy, he
so
made
great.
me laugh so hard.
So we got to find out his name. Sorry.
I know, we got to get him on.
Guy.
Oh, yeah.
Should.
You know what scene? I know that we've gone long, but the scene, my kids happened to be watching it first season at the pool when you guys and John Oliver were judging.
Yes.
You're all
oh my
in that
God.
thing. That was one of the first episodes. That's when we had a budget to go places, and
in Long Beach.
we had talked about Leonard because that's where we met Leonard. We met Richard Erdman, but.
Rest in peace, yeah.
The Murderer's Row on that with you three up there, and that's where he kept going, Teacher Chang, Professor Chang, and you kept telling the woman behind you to strike things, Jim. And I just remember going I remember in my mind going, this is the funniest scene I've ever been in my life. I can't believe how funny this is.
It was, and I think the name was, Was it
Did I lose?
Shonda?
You guys still see Jim?
I'm here. Can you guys see me?
I see you, Jim.
I don't see you. What the heck? This got to be me.
I love your go-to. Was it with Shonda or Rhonda? I love your go-to snaps. Every time, one of my favorite things ever.
Oh, there was 50.
You did
It was like
snaps to
I was
Ron.
telling her to trace the call. It was
Yes.
during Ass Crass Bandit.
Yeah,
And I was
yeah.
like, yeah, there was
Yeah.
another time with the IMDb. I
Oh,
loved you in
Dude.
That's a
in-
great joke. Oh my! In the Dean
in-
documentary episode, he goes, and by the way, Louise, I loved you in,
in
and then Allison Brie gives you the phone. IMDb.
you were a disaster.
Disaster. It's so
Yeah.
that Dean documentary episode. I just rewatched it. Man, it's just one of my favorites. There's just so much there. It
You
really
put
is.
That orange, when he hands the orange, they're like,
Yes.
remember
I
that?
know.
You're like, what's this?
Scene
Act
4.
three.
Scene 4. Or whatever. Yeah.
Scene
Act
4,
three.
whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I didn't. I mean, all that soot that you're putting on in that montage and just everything. I mean, oh my God.
That was
Just,
basically running down the hallway at the end of the day because everyone had gone home, and the last thing to shoot was me running around in basically those little flesh-colored underwear they give you to make it look like you're naked, running through the empty hallways of the set. That was pretty much how you wrapped your day, and then spread the ash or the soot on my face.
That's the last thing you shot of that episode.
That's the last. Well, the last of that day, I remember that as everyone's gone home. You just sprint. Okay.
Okay, not everyone's left. Here's some soot.
It'll all be pixelated. Just dance down the hallway. Okay.
Okay,
I was
great.
like, I'm in. By the way,
Oh.
a real quick nod to Paget, because that was one of my favorite lines of that last episode. Was she goes, as a character, as someone who just came to the school and nailed it. That was the
Yeah, as
line.
a
Because
humble
it was true.
As a
And she-
humble outsider who nailed it, I say that we.
Because she
humble
did.
outsider.
It was like, talk about a fully realized performance from the minute she arrived. It was really.
Amazing. I mean, her delivery on did we give a degree to a dog is high art. It is so loaded, and it's such a funny line, and it could be like, you could throw that away, but she just enjoyed, and it just turned, and then your reaction, and you're like, and Allison screaming, why are these hard questions? to blow the gasket off of it I was just like, you can't. That's just. I mean, now I'm complimenting the show that I'm on, but it's like that the level of sophistication happening was remarkable.
I think Paget used it. She used everything about the show and her relationship to the show. I remember in the Jesus Wept episode, you said, You're not another Dean, you're another Abed. And she's just right. Don't know who that is yet. Just the way she just threw that away.
That's right.
I've never seen someone just come in and nail it. Like, she had literally had 10 episodes to get it right, and just boom, from jump, she just jumped right in. It was pretty
from
amazing.
jump. She jumped right in. That's
Yeah. And then we all figured.
All right. Wow.
We all
Really?
figured out our characters by the end too, which was great. You
The
know
what?
We all figured out our characters by the end too. I think by the end, we really were like, oh, now I get it. And I remember they were going, that's a wrap on the show. I'm like, oh,
That's
fuck.
it. Oh, we could have nailed season 7.
I just realized who this person is. Wow.
Oh, I realize that I can do more than just memorize these lines, and after a joke, just wait and then continue to the next joke.
I realize I can just believe this. God, now I can believe things. Oh well. All right.
Yeah.
On to the next project. Oh wait.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, that's right.
The great indoors.
Oh my God. Zing.
Dang.
Now we have broken a record, haven't we, Andrew?
I know. We're trying to bring.
Broke it. Jim, I could do this all day long. And I'm
could
not. I
too.
know that.
Well, it's mainly good to see you guys.
Yeah.
So we're so far.
Let
away.
alone broadcast this.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. No. Just so I know, people out there, we
Jesus.
all really like each other, and that's. I hear it's pretty
Yes,
rare,
we
and
do.
know it's rare. Talking to so many people. Who are on shows with people for years, they're like, yeah, they're fine. But we truly enjoyed each other to the point where I let Jim live in my house for 6 months due to some pretty
8.
Right.
some pretty dubious banking practices on Jim's part, and so he had to hide there for a while. No, Jim sold
Yeah.
his house in Venice Beach very quickly because it's a beautiful house. It's Venice Beach. He wanted to be closer to where he did everything, which is Hollywood, which is where everything gets done, pretty much. And you sold it in like a day.
It went fast, yes.
And then he did not have a place to live. And then we're like, come stay with us. And because we have a much.
I've got to hide out here.
Don't worry about it. Thank you, Joel. Oh, man.
Oh,
What's up with you?
And then I thought, I think you called it. You're like, well, it happened. The Dean and Jeff live together, and it's a whole Joni Loves Chachi. It's a whole spinoff.
It was. It was. I was very grateful that you guys would let me say what I said would be probably a month.
How long was it?
It was over 8 months. There were times when I would go stay other places because, obviously I had family in town, and your family has an issue with me, which is totally understandable.
We won't talk about that now.
They don't like the bald.
They don't like the bald.
Well, it's a group of people. They're not into the bald.
No, that's okay.
My kids, I want to sing a song to you.
Yeah, and your kids would just run away.
I remember, we would have people for dinner, and then you would walk by, and people were like, the fucking Dean just walked by. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, Jim lives here. He lives here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's here.
And sometimes you allow me to come inside and say hello.
And then I'd be like, please get out.
Get out. And you say,
Sarah
dude.
Sarah and I are in the middle of one of those huge marital arguments that Jim was able to.
He'd be like, growl, and she'd be like, peepaw, and then he'd be like, wah, wah, and she'd be like, wah, 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 and then he'd do that classic guy thing like, baruga, baruga, and then she'd be all like, ding, 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 and then he would be like, slam, and she'd be like, crunch, and he'd be like, pow, and she'd be like, karumba, and he'd be like, knock, 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 and she'd be go, clomp, 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 like Clooney, and then he would be like, ha, and she'd be like, ah, and then mwah, 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 mwah.
Yeah, but Jim would usually walk in the middle of Karumba, and that's the height of the argument.
And then you'd hear one, hey, from a well-placed, hey.
Or like, Karumba, oh, not now.
God,
the bald.
We forgot what we were fighting for, because now we hate the bald one.
Now we have to start over.
Oh my God, that galvanized you two together when he goes, hey.
Hey. That was our pilot. It was just me. The opening line was me going, hey. He goes, oh.
That's it.
That's the dynamic.
I remember you would jump out of bushes like in season 1. Hi, to Winger.
Yeah, that was all 5 dances. Remember that? We were walking along Paramount because we would shoot there a lot more, like outside where that little
because they didn't have to pay for it.
And then and you were walking along, and I ran up, and I had that T-shirt that said all 5 dances. Because we had done 5 dances at that point, I think, and there was going to be a T-shirt I went to all 5 dances at Greendale.
We really should make up some of those T-shirts.
That is genius.
That would be a great T-shirt, actually. I'm surprised people haven't.
I'd say we should give them away to charity, but we should just collect all the profits.
Yeah, that's
the Joe McHale Foundation.
The Jim Rash False Background Foundation. Where he can switch that out for the.
Yeah. Here at my
Jim, at your
here
set,
at the Elm
GoFundMe,
Cafe where I live.
Cut to Space Kitchen set. Cut to Little House on the Prairie kitchen.
More Space Kitchen.
Nice. Man, you just huge.
Look at that. That is big. Nice.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's weird 'cause Ken has a lot more money, and yet his background is shit.
No, he has like articles that are framed.
Right. That's expensive. His dad sends those, and his dad, if he watches the podcast, he's gonna be like,
my dad will cut them out, and then this is '09. He'll cut them out, Greensboro News and Record, and he'll just mail it to me framed articles, everything.
Love that.
It is just he is. Oh, we've never told the Mercedes joke because I had a Mercedes. And I still had the same one. And I drive in, and Joel in his classic snark goes, "Oh, really? I had an E-Class. Really couldn't afford an S-Class? Zing!" And I had bought my dad. Like 2 S-Classes over the years, and then Joel would say, "Wow, really? You would actually give your S-Classes rather your father than you drive." And I told my dad that, and my dad's like, "Tell Joel McHale thank you for S-Class compliment." It's so cute. Right. And so my dad, every time my dad sees you on TV, "Oh, that's the guy who complimented your S-Class Mercedes."
For some reason, Ken bought himself a lower tier Mercedes,
and it's
of
so.
course,
So
anything I can find to make fun of Ken at any moment, I'm going to go after. Yeah. And then I was like, I can't afford the S-Class. And he bought 2 S-Classes for his dad. I would never do that for my parents.
But he was always.
You hear that, Mom and Dad?
He just loved the fact that you made an S-Class joke. He just loved. I don't know why. That just. It's so cute.
Still that S-Class. Yeah.
Oh, I love you, Jim Rash.
Thank you guys.
Jim, you broke the record for the longest time we've had a guest on. Well, not the most entertaining, but
no. I can only give the longest. Entertaining is for me is like you get a good 3 minutes.
Yeah, we can cut this too. And
you can? Okay.
No, I think we broke. Did we break 2 hours?
We broke.
No.
We're breaking 2 hours. By the time this episode finishes, it will have been 2 hours.
I know it gets long when I get texts from my wife going, "What are you doing?"
My kids are taking their online classes right now. They're like, "Can you stop laughing?" That's why I'm trying. That's why I'm lowering the mic, because they're just like, "Can you stop laughing so loud, please, Dad?"
No, yeah, that mic doesn't look like it's being held by a small bird claw.
His talon. You got it in your talon.
So, anyway, this is how I reduce laughs in my house. I can reduce a laugh reaction. Mm-hmm.
Meow.
Anything like put the hand on top of the hand.
This is great.
Now, I have nobody texting or worried about how loud I'm being in my house.
My wife just doesn't believe we could go this. She was like, "What are you doing up? What's happening?"
I know. She texts you like, beep, bobble, and then you text back, "Oh," and then she texts back, "Bank, wah," and then you text back like, "Bing," and then she texts back, "Bah," and you text back, "Knocka, knocka, knocka, knock," and she texts back, "Ding dong," and then you text back, "Bushel of fun," and then she texts back, "Not on my watch."
And then, what would you do if you still lived there and just entered their room?
Oh, and then I went, and then I go, and I text, "Emoji." Unspecific emoji. Oh, Lord.
So yeah, that's the text. That's the text exchange.
Oh man.
Classic text exchange. So I guess we're getting together right after this.
Yeah, we're gonna do a podcast after this.
Oh, okay, great.
Oh, this is a great dress rehearsal. This is so.
We're
good.
doing Dave and Buster's podcast.
So just send me the things you want us to hit. The best of from this one, and we'll get it again.
Great. We can cut it down to about an hour and 10 minutes.
This is the best and longest sound check ever. This is so good.
Thank you all. That was fun.
Love you, Jim.
Let's do it again.
Yes, thank love you guys. I will talk to you soon.
See you at the community, whatever happens with that.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
It'll
next
happen.
week. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Sweet. Jim
Bye.
Rash, ladies and gentlemen.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh man.
Fuck.
It's funniest person ever, man. It just brings back so many just flooding of memories, man. Just nonstop laughs. And then precision. They're like funniest person I've ever worked with. This Jim Rash. All right,
we
Joe.
tried for an hour and about 15 minutes to get Ken to be entertaining. Excuse me, Jim, to be entertaining. I didn't mean to insult you there.
So much fun.
I screwed up my joke.
I don't. See. Oh, I'm just like it's just a nice little Jim Rash hangover right now. I'm just
I feel buzzed.
I feel buzzed right now.
Such a good man, such a talented man. No need to be as nice as he is.
Right.
He's really hard to listen to, but he's a good man.
Again, just reminds everybody.
This off before. I think we broke the time record. We got to get out of here.
Anyway, love you, Joel. We'll see you
Ken,
soon.
say hello to your dad and his much nicer car than your car.
Yes, we'll do. We'll absolutely do. See you guys.
It's the North Face, so please wear that next time.
I'll try. It's just getting warm. It's just getting hot. So don't tell me what to do.
Turn on the air conditioning.
I know it is on. It's still hot. I just, don't tell me what to do.
What the heck's going on?
I don't know. I was trying to do a bit, and I just got tired of my own bit.
You turned into a weird tiny bird in a nest looking around like.
I'm just tired. I don't know who I'm looking at.
All right, Ken.
All right.
Next time.
Next
Darkest
time.
Timelines podcast. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Joe.
Down to it's going to be a true crime one next week, so we'll see.
Yes. Can't wait.
I hear those are popular.